in.
Where did you dig up that old fossil?
Going into Toshi Station to pick up some power converters.
That's no move.
We're all fine here now, thank you. How are you?
Welcome to the Star Wars Nerds Podcast. I'm Dan Vadabonker.
And I'm Kenton Larson.
And Kenton, I had students from my alma mater, Nelson McIntyre Collegiate, my high school that I went to, came here this week, came to the college to get a tour and to learn about our program. It was very exciting.
Is that why your nickname is the Big Mac?
That's right. No, my nickname. Do you want to know what my nickname in high school was? I had a couple.
Did you have a nickname?
I had a couple different nicknames.
What are they?
I had Big Daddy.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
It's nice.
It is nice.
It came from it was an email on a bat, and I just started laughing at the phrase "Big Daddy," and a friend of mine just started calling me that.
That's great.
I also had the nickname Dancing Gabe. That was because I traveled. Like when I got the basketball, and I was playing basketball, I got excited, and I would like move my feet, and you're not supposed to do that. Yeah, it's called traveling. So they would call me Dancing Gabe because I kind of danced, and there was also Dancing Gabe, and that's it. That's the only reason.
Or the Winnipeg Jets fan,
right?
Number one fan.
People from Winnipeg know who he is, and then the other one was Stud because I dated quite a bit in high school. So I got a rip. I didn't do anything. I don't know. I didn't wasn't like a whatever. I just dated.
Whatever.
I just dated a lot of girls, and that got me the reputation of being a guy who dated. Anyway, those were my high school nicknames.
I didn't have a single nickname in high school. My name, Kenton. They didn't even shorten Kenton. It was just Kenton. I didn't even have a like. Sometimes people are like, "Did people call you Ken?" Like, no, they really didn't. Did they call you Kent? No, they didn't. Did they call you Kentamundo? No, they didn't. Like you can come up with anything. I never heard any of it.
No. Well, no, I guess so. We were talking in the office today about the names, the way names change over time.
Oh yeah.
And how middle school kids will find any way to make fun of your name if they want to. And someone was saying a name was like Anya Lasagna, that kind of stuff happens in class. So anyway, but it changes because the names change, right? So the names are like really different and really weird spellings now. So I don't know.
There's people,
Sky.
You know why? You know why their spellings are weird? Because parents are more illiterate than they've ever been. And so they think they're spelling things correctly. Have you met somebody with a name like that yet?
Yeah.
Where it's like Gregory. Greeeroy, and you're like, how did this happen? And it happened because somebody doesn't know how to spell Gregory, I think.
There was a kid in my son's class named Rambo. As in Rambo.
Named after?
Rambo. It's seemingly named after the fictional character played by Sylvester Stallone.
I believe Rambo is a legitimate last name, though. I
don't
know.
Oh, sorry.
I think it is.
Okay. Well, I don't know. I thought it was interesting. I'm like, is he named after the movie character? And he's like, I don't know.
Well, isn't there? I think there's an actor with the last name Rambo.
Possibly.
I can't think of what his first name is at this moment, but so that's possible. But if it's a first name, then that probably means the parents were fans of First Blood.
That's right. Yes, and that's I think the best of the series, honestly.
Oh, it is the best. Brian Dennehy is the bad cop. That's
right.
All you need is Brian Dennehy being bad, and you've got a movie. You've got yourself a movie. It doesn't really matter what happens.
He's great.
He's specifically a jerk in that movie. Mm-hmm. And even when Rambo's like, I don't want a war. I'm warning you, I don't want a war. And then the guy's like, no, you can't leave it alone. Can't leave it alone. He's got to chase him around the little town in BC where they shot it.
Yes, that's right. Oh, it's so beautiful there.
Oh, it is. Okay. It really is a good movie. You can understand why there were sequels. But
but none of them stood up to the first one for sure.
Each sequel gets more ridiculous until the next one will be Rambo on Mars fighting aliens.
Oh, it's going to be Rambo in the old folks' home at this rate. Sylvester Stallone's getting up there. I think he should he should hang up the headband.
They're going to repurpose it. It's going to be science fiction.
No,
I know what he can do.
It'll be animated, actually. It'll be an animated series.
I was going to say he is a shoo-in for the role, the main role in the Bad Batch live action.
way to bring it back to the topic of
because
Star Wars.
We do know that the lead Bad Batcher in the group is Rambo.
He is, absolutely. Except you don't see it. I noticed that when I was watching the latest episode. First of all, he has not been around this season very much. He's been off camera or off doing something else for some episodes. And then even when you do see him, he's got his helmet on. And I always forget which one is which when they've got their helmets on. Except for maybe the big guy and the robot guy who kind of looks distinctive. And I think he wears a skirt. or something. I don't know. But those two kind of look distinctive. And, of course, Omega looks different. But the other ones kind of look all the same to me. So I have a difficult time picking out that guy. I'm not loving the Bad Batch this season, Kenton. I'm just thinking it's kind of boring.
I agree. I thought the most recent episode was a move in the right direction, primarily because we have a Jedi Wookiee and he's cute. And
I'm so glad it's not Chewbacca. I'm so glad it's not Chewbacca's nephew. Like, I was just like, please don't be directly connected to a character from the original trilogy. Now.
I agree. I thought that element of the show and Kashyyyk, all right, that gives us something like a hook to hang this thing on, which was a big improvement over the prior week's episode. Did you actually watch that whole episode?
I did exactly what you told me to do, which was to fast forward until something happened and then watch it. And I got to about 5 minutes before.
That's right.
And then they got into that big thing and they had that big like mech or whatever they were in, and they had that crash down, and that was exciting. And that was it. And that was the end. That's all I watched of that episode.
They're like, well, at least this mech won't live to see another day and be misused by some other bad people. All right, let's leave this planet and never come back or talk about this ever again. All right, deal. And then off they go. Yeah.
I've heard of episodic television, but it's a bit ridiculous. And it's just, you're right, they just spend the whole time, I assume, just based on the fast forward footage, going through this junkyard that they were in the entire time. And it just didn't seem like anything interesting. And this one, and I can see they're going very heavy on the Omega character because they want to get the kids. And we are two grown men talking about a children's show.
Yes, we are.
Let's be honest. But I would say that there are still ties to Star Wars, and grown men and women do take it seriously. Well, as far as storytelling elements are concerned, right? We want there to be something more to it. And there's no reason why there can't be something more to it for the parents as well.
The pod race episode, which also wasn't one of my favorites, had a character that made us laugh. KO.
The droid. He was funny. That was worth watching that episode.
I like the voice actor there, and I got a kick out of it. But really, the ultimate takeaway, there wasn't much of a takeaway from that episode. But there were elements that made it watchable. The one after that, like last week's, not good. Like the lowest of the low, I think, was that week's episode.
I thought the second, those first 2 episodes were pretty bland. And I still don't remember what happened in the second episode of the season this year.
It's a bit of, they released 2 at once, remember?
Well, yeah. I didn't watch them together, though, but I just still can't remember. So, but I did like the Wookiee thing, the Kashyyyk thing. It did remind me of Star Wars, the Jedi Order game, the video game we were playing on Xbox. And I kind of want to start playing that again. And I know there's a sequel coming out soon. Although apparently the date's been pushed back or something. But it's this year. It is supposed to come out this year, the sequel to that game. So I might start playing that again, actually.
Yeah, the sequel is delayed by 6 weeks, but I mean it's only 6 weeks. That's not much.
Yeah, just play the first one and try and expand your abilities. I don't know. I mean I don't really remember it, but I do remember like the jungles. There is a level on Kashyyyk, I believe. Yeah, and like those jungles. I think so, or something similar to it. And those creatures. Although the colorful, I don't know about those colorful monkey whatever they were things they were riding. I wasn't a fan of those. I don't know.
There's a few. I mean, the big thing that I hope they've solved is save points on the levels.
Yes, we're talking about 2 different things. I'm still talking about the episode of the Bad Batch. Remember when the Wookiees show up?
Yeah, but I thought we were comparing it.
We are comparing them. Yes, but
I thought that's what you're. Oh, so
those monkey things are not in the video game.
Okay, I thought they might be because it's been so long since I played it.
Similar types of creatures, I guess. Yes, you could say that. Similar silly looking creatures.
So we were talking about, but then you went back to talking about the video, the cartoon. Sorry. I get it. No, I understand. But nonetheless, I hope the save points are there in the game.
Yes, that's right. Me too. That was the biggest problem with it, right? That was just like,
I played through that game like 10 times probably, and before I passed it off to you and said, "Now you've experienced the frustration that I experienced." But I agree, it's a good game. But I will buy the new one.
And now it's available for like nothing on Game Pass and all those things. My son texts me and he's like, "How's this Star Wars game? Is it any good?" And I'm like, yeah, I have it on the Xbox if you want to play it. And he's like, I could just download it for $10 on my computer. I'm like, okay. And he did. He just bought it himself on Steam because that's how cheap it is now. Yeah, those games just get marked down after. Like there seems to be this whole like tier system. We should talk about this on Media Nerds at some point as far as video games go. And there's the top tier, the big games that are released, and then there's you just have to wait a certain amount of time for it to get cheap enough, right? And I guess you've employed that strategy for years by getting the previously played games or the re-release games, the cheaper ones, right? When they do that. Yeah,
and the stuff goes on sale on the downloads too from time to time, and so some degree of that at the same time. But it's it's like waiting for a Marvel movie on Disney Plus, the shortest wait time ever now. I see Wakanda Forever is now on Disney.
That's on there, yep.
It takes weeks at this point to show up, and if you're just like patience is a virtue. If you just continue to be patient, it will materialize.
Yeah. It's but they're very much trying to push. I see the marketing pushing people to that that most expensive point, right, where they want people to consume it when it's brand new, and they're trying to create that sense of urgency.
Yeah.
But I'm just not feeling it for a lot of the stuff. Certainly not for Wakanda Forever, which I think got mixed reviews. And it was like, no. I think they lost me as far as seeing Marvel movies in the theater, they lost me at the Eternals. I didn't go see that one. And I think that's pretty much... And Doctor Strange. The last one I saw was Doctor Strange.
Awful.
That last Doctor Strange movie, yeah.
That to me is maybe... Like, if you... Like, I didn't... Like, The Eternals is terrible, but Doctor Strange, I think, might be... That Multiverse of Madness might be the worst ever Marvel film. It might be. I could certainly...
Well, The Incredible Hulk still counts.
So no, this is worse.
Oh, yeah?
It's worse. I in a debate, I would take that. I could do that. I could debate it. And I think pretty persuasively.
Okay, there you go.
I think there's many elements that are terrible, and I also think it's a movie that's just the most unnecessary of all the films.
Probably, I definitely agree with that statement for sure.
It just doesn't do anything. But we're here to talk about Star Wars. So.
We keep getting off track, but that's okay. There's not a lot of Star Wars stuff to talk about. We have the Bad Batch. What else do we have? What else is happening in Star Wars?
We have that. We have the trailer, a new
yes,
Mandalorian
right.
trailer. It's called Phenomenon.
So let's watch this trailer and then react to it. I guess that's what we're doing, right?
This team has given us 2 seasons of The Mandalorian, with another season on the way. Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni.
We get into this because we're fans.
The people working on this feel just like you guys do. The legacy of it, it means something to them.
It is this mix of incredible talent, everyone just bringing it week after week.
I think we've got some really good Jedi working on this series.
I'm very proud of The Mandalorian. It's about becoming part of something larger than yourself.
This is the way.
Did you expect The Mandalorian to become such a global phenomenon?
Honestly, I was just happy to get to make Star Wars.
It's Pedro Pascal!
I love you! I mean, it had to have been incredibly surreal to watch the show blow up like this.
The Mandalorian blew the doors off social media.
You're familiar with the baby Yoda from The Mandalorian? Well, I think might be able to unite the country.
He's stolen everybody's heart. Hi, Grogu.
For a generation of kids now, Grogu represents something that R2 represented to me.
Breakout star.
The most carefully guarded surprise to date, Luke Skywalker's appearance.
For people to be able to discover that in real time was magical.
To see the reactions. Oh my God. That was a high point of my whole career. Makes you grateful that you're doing what you're doing.
Everywhere I've gone, people want to talk about The Mandalorian. And to now have the 3rd season ready to present to the public.
We thought it might be fun to show a sneak peek.
You have removed your helmet. And you are a Mandalorian no more.
All right, kid. Hang on.
Things. I love that final shot there. Well, that's interesting.
It is. It's the first fandom-based trailer, I think.
Yeah, it's almost as though they want to remind us of how popular. Ooh, something's playing here. Hold on a second.
Like stars in the galaxy.
No, I don't want to hear that anymore. There we go. Oh, that's back to the original trailer now.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's almost as though they want to remind us of how popular it once was, right? In case we forgot. Remember how crazy people went over Baby Yoda?
Yeah, I don't think it's unpopular at this point. I think it's still super popular, but they might have stepped on the anticipation by putting those 2 episodes in the Book of Boba Fett. I'm not against them doing that, the 2 Mandalorian episodes there, because I thought it was exciting, but they and I still think they have surprise up their sleeve because it made it seem as though little baby Grogu was never going to see Luke Skywalker again, and I don't think that's the case.
Well, but that's when the Luke Skywalker stuff happened in
Book of Boba Fett.
Right. It was not actually Mandalorian. Right. So I think that's just because they were like, maybe they had, production issues. They couldn't shoot the entire second season, but they were able to get these 2 episodes done and it was originally supposed to be episodes of The Mandalorian, and they ended up making them as part of the Book of Boba Fett.
I don't think that's the case.
No?
I think they said that was the plan all along.
Really?
That's why they called it Book of Boba Fett. The whole idea was
they stop. They stop.
It's part of Mando.
Right, but they stop in the middle of it to do these 2 episodes that are just about Mando and Baby Yoda.
Right.
And we see Luke. And then they go back to the Book of Boba Fett in the end, which, and ultimately does involve Mando and Baby Yoda. So I guess we're jumping off of that point, right? We're continuing from that.
Right.
This is the most recent point in the timeline.
Right, but I think if they would have made us wonder, like, where did Luke take him? What's happening? Like, if that were still the case, but they said that they thought it was too long of a wait to wait for the whole season.
I agree.
And probably we'd be going crazy just trying to imagine what might have happened. But I still don't think we have an answer. In terms of little baby showed up with his chainmail on. That doesn't mean he doesn't have the lightsaber too. That doesn't mean that there's no more Luke training. That doesn't mean the Mandalorian isn't experienced some degree of Luke training. He does have the dark saber, of course. I think there's there's a lot of different things that they can still throw our way that we might think we know what's going on when in fact we don't.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to it. I'm pumped for this. I do think Mandalorian is among the best Star Wars ever made. And we're off of Andor, which is some of the best Star Wars ever made too.
Yeah. I would say I'm watching Mando, I'm rewatching it now. I just finished episode 6, which is one of the best of that season, which is the jailbreak episode.
Oh, I love it.
It's so good. And I would say I think Andor's better, but just because I like that series, I like the tone of it better. I just like everything they did with it, and it's fine. Some of the episodes I'm not liking though. There's too many bad. Like in that first season, the episode with the episode 5 is with that annoying bounty hunter kid the son of what's his name, Bobby Cannavale's son, right? So that was just that's not a great episode.
There's still good stuff in that
there
episode.
Is, yes. You do get to see like what's her name shows up with her droids and Fennec Shan shows up in that one as well for the first time. But that guy's just so annoying, and I just couldn't stand to watch him. But I also didn't like as much the episode that was the one before that, which is like the Magnificent Seven, the one where they basically protect the town from the bandits. I didn't like that as much the second time around. I don't know. I just felt too clean cut and just very convenient. And I don't know. I didn't buy it when, like, why wouldn't he just stay there and live out the rest of his life? And
who?
Mando, right? I guess because the bounty hunters were coming after him, but
you're talking about the episode
where the
walker.
Yeah, there's the walker, and they protect them. They beat off the bandits, and then they invite him to stay, and then he can't stay because all these guys are after him or whatever. They're still after Baby Yoda, so he has to go off because they would come after him there. I guess I understand that. But at the time, I remember not liking it as much. I don't know
It's
why.
more of a standalone episode.
It is. Yeah, I guess it is.
But that's also the episode with little baby drinking soup, which is pretty great.
Very cute, yes.
Yes, it's pretty good. Like, Mando gets into the fight, and they cut away to the little baby going, so basically, like, I'm not going to get involved in this. I'm just going to enjoy my soup over here.
True.
His bone broth, of course.
Any part that involves Baby Yoda in this show is just awesome. And then so that's kind of the great thread that runs throughout it. But I love this last episode with all these great characters. We've got Ben Burr. We've got
Bill Burr.
Bill Burr. Sorry, Ben Burr. Clancy Brown. Yeah. And some other Richard Ayoade. I can never say his name properly, but from the IT crowd.
Yeah.
I want that droid to say, "Have you tried turning it off and on again?" I keep wanting. That was so good. It's such a great episode, and I'm really am enjoying watching it.
I also have to point out when the first time we watched The Mandalorian, we didn't like. I always say that. It's always fun when you don't know what a show is yet. When you don't know what is the point. Like, we didn't know Luke could show up on this show. We didn't know, there's lots we didn't know. We didn't know, well, is it just adventure of the week? Is it an ongoing storyline? And it takes a while. Like that first episode, I remember thinking, I really liked the first episode of The Mandalorian, but I was like, that guy's like Star Trek Next Generation. That guy,
the blue guy?
Yeah. The blue guy. And I was like, I don't know about this. And then when the blue guy shows up later in the series, I'm like, oh, I'm happy to see the blue guy. But I just think it's because our minds are leaping ahead. and going like, what's this show like or about? And as soon as you know what a show is about, it always loses a little bit of the excitement and the fun. But I still think they have as I say, they have lots of surprises to throw our way. And I think Mandalorian is the show that Star Wars needed. It needed a modern day hit that people loved, that they were invested in. And Baby Grogu got us there. But also, it's at the point now where we like the Mandalorian, a character we never heard of, we like more than Boba Fett at this point in time. It's like you couldn't have imagined that scenario in the old days of Star Wars. No, there's another Mandalorian. He's cooler than Boba Fett.
Right.
And Boba Fett's the coolest. What are you talking about?
What I realized as I've been watching it is that the show is really about what the perception is of a Mandalorian, what we thought a Mandalorian was before the show.
Right.
We're discovering it's not what we thought it was. It's not there's more to it than just what we thought Boba Fett was. And I know they've gotten into it more in the cartoons and that kind of stuff, but it's about the popular knowledge of this, right? Most people weren't aware of the cartoons or what happens in that stuff, although they are bringing that into this show as well with Bo-Katan and all that stuff. So it is a great a great show. And you're right, they did need a hit, but I still think it is taking their attention away from the movies. I think they need to get the movies going again. We'll see. I don't know. We'll see what happens with this Rogue Squadron movie whenever that comes out. And I know Hollywood's it's in a slump, right? Nobody's going to the theater. They can't figure out their revenue model anymore. Everyone wants to get streaming going, but I want to see Star Wars movies in the theater again. I really miss that experience. And I was just thinking about that. I haven't seen it. Obviously, the last one we saw was the Rise of Skywalker. And I just, I want to see another Star Wars movie in the theater.
Well, we'll see about. I actually think that's where Mandalorian is headed. The Dave Filoni and Favreau universe that they've created. Because we've got lots of moving parts at this point. We've got lots of characters we love. There's a big story here. We're going to see Ahsoka in the same time period, and we'll be introduced to Thrawn. There's going to be a massive build-up, Avengers style, I think, to what.
But it's all happening on Disney Plus. None of this is happening in theaters, right?
I think that the big conclusion, will there ever be a conclusion? I don't know. But I think the big finish to this will be in the theater.
Okay.
I think they're going to put it there. I do. I think it might even be a two-parter, because why just make half the money when you can make twice the money? I just see it going in that direction, and I think either Din Djarin will be the leader of Mandalore, or Baby Grogu will be, or there's so many different places that this could end, and I could just picture a theater full of people just cheering as Baby Grogu in his Mandalorian armor holds up his lightsaber like, ho, ho, ho. Could you imagine?
That would be awesome. I would love to see that in the theater. And we'll see what happens with this. But I don't know. I just hope that we got a celebration coming up soon. We have a celebration night this year, right? Yeah. So hopefully we'll get some more information and more stuff, out of that.
Well, the show itself. How many seasons of The Mandalorian are we getting? We don't even have an answer to that.
Well, no, but we also have all these other shows that are just starting that will have at least, I'm going to say 3 minimum, right? I don't see I don't know. I don't know what else. I'm not really I have nothing else on my radar as far as Disney Plus shows. The Disney stuff I don't really care about. The Marvel stuff I don't really care about anymore.
There's some good FX stuff on there and some good National Geographic.
Well, I know, but is it FX for Disney Plus, or is it from old days FX?
It's everything.
Okay.
Yeah, it's all kinds of good stuff. It's good. It's quality stuff.
Okay, but the Americans, I get that's from back in the day, though. That's not really. I'm talking about the stuff they're making specifically for Disney Plus. These series now that is taking resources away from their movie making studio, because that's what they've done. They shifted all their resources over to streaming. So anyway, I just hope they haven't forgot about the movie side of the business. I really want them to. Not that the film industry is or the movies are doing that well, but I just want someone to try and bring it back.
Think of this nightmare. I've thought of this. Theaters start to close down. I mean, they're already, so many have closed down. There really are. There's no downtown movie business in Winnipeg anymore. Like there used to be 10 theaters downtown. Now there's Cinematheque is the only one.
But I blame downtown. I don't blame the theaters for that. But our downtown sucks. It's horrible.
Oh no, it's every downtown.
Okay, well, every downtown sucks. A lot of people are having the same problems. But it's also the theaters in the the movie theaters in the malls and stuff. I'm not really impressed with the new I haven't gone yet. I'm impressed with the new theater I haven't gone to yet. But the one at the mall, like the one that opened up, I looked around there. I'm like, it looks exactly the same. They haven't done anything new. It's the same gimmicks. They've got like 38 D-box seats, as Chris has told us. So I'll go experience that. But I mean, they're just, it's all gimmicks. They're not, and the quality of the movies is not there. That's the problem, and the quantity, right?
Well, I don't want to fight with people to see a movie on the opening weekend. I don't want it. I don't want to buy extra tickets because I can't tell what's going on because the demand online to buy the tickets is high. I don't want to fight for the right seat. I don't want any of that. I want to be able to go see the film when it comes out, and that's not easy necessarily to do anymore. Because if it's a big movie, everybody's going to try to see it at the same time, which is frustrating, or it'll be spoiled.
Well, marketing is pushing them to do that, right?
Yeah. So
opening weekend.
I like the Disney Plus stuff. I want it to keep coming. I'm not opposed to movies, and I think there's nothing wrong with it. But I'm worried. Like, imagine all the theaters closed down. It's like, this is theaters only. You're like, now you're stuck. Now you can't see it at all.
Yeah, but it's not. Doesn't have to be theaters only, though. That's
the choice.
Yeah, how to give people the choice, and I get it that they think, oh, nobody's going to go see the theater, or nobody's going to see it in the theater if it's available on Disney Plus. True, a lot of people won't, but fans will, and people who really want to will go see it. And there is a market for that. It's not the mass market that it used to be, I think, is what's happening. Right. So they're not getting people out in the theater in the huge numbers they used to, but there is still, like, they could create, and again, I've said this before, they could create like special screenings for The Mandalorian, for Book of Boba Fett, and all these series. I would love to see them all in the theater, but I don't see anybody doing anything like that around here. So.
Well, they did the marathon for Obi-Wan Kenobi in Toronto.
Oh, yeah?
Where what's his name? Anakin Skywalker.
Oh yeah, Christian Haydenson.
Yeah, I always mix it. Christian Haydenson, whatever the guy's name is. Yeah. So he was there, and Deborah Chow was there, and I heard that there was people talking in the theater like throughout the thing, like it was irritating to actually go see it there.
Okay.
And that's the other element of going to movies that I do not miss, like. Hey, I mentioned in our last podcast, I used to be an usher at the Town Cinema. When people respected the usher, there was an usher, and who would tell people to shut up, and they would. And that was just a no holds barred. Like if you have the bad luck of getting a seat near some jackass with his phone on, or whatever it is, taking phone calls in some cases, or my favorite, the guy from I saw the Avengers sitting in the front row with his laptop open so that it shone throughout the theater, and you're just like, do I want to get into a fight with the laptop guy, or is somebody going to come in? Man. Like I don't miss that at all. And you're pointing out the obvious too, which is that the theaters have not come up with anything new to draw us in. But Avatar, once again, people are going to see the 3D, which I never thought would ever happen again, but it worked.
I'm not seeing it.
It worked. James Cameron did it.
Yeah, but not to the same degree. Not to the same
he's made
level.
$2 billion.
$2 billion? Yeah, but inflation, right?
Well, there's that element.
Okay.
But I mean, I'm not going to. Did you go see it?
No, absolutely not. I will see it when it comes to Disney Plus. I'm not interested in seeing the Avatar movie in the theater.
No, me neither. I'm not interested.
I know what happens. I know I've been spoiled for me. I know that they bring back the old bad guy from the first movie.
Oh yeah, I
as
knew
an
that
Avatar.
Too. Yeah,
it's stupid. It's so stupid. Come on, have an original thought. Anyway, I gotta get to class. We gotta wrap things up.
Is your class underwater today?
No, no, they're not. Although some of them, these are DMD students, so some of them may be wanting to get into the industry that created that movie because it's all CGI.
Yeah.
So anyway, but that's a conversation for another day. I'll leave it at that.
Thanks, Maz Kanata.
Yes. That's going to do it for this episode of the Star Wars Nerds. I'm Dan Vadavonker.
I'm Kenton Larson. Don't let the Force hit you in the ass.
Going into Toshi Station to pick up some power converters.
TK421, do you copy? We're all fine here now, thank you. How are you?